are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York girl. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 635. Never a dull moment for the Knicks. Got a lot to talk about today.
Never a dull moment. What are we talking about, Jay? What happened?
We got a lot of stuff. We got some,
a lot of stuff.
We got some winning going on.
You want to do the topics? I got the topics first, Jay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, the topics. Topics for today's show. Topic number one, Candace Parker. Did she watch the playoffs last year in a different part of the multiverse? Mm-hmm. We're also going to talk about today, should the Knicks conserve energy by having OG play 1-5 on defense? Also, did the Knicks front office have an intervention with Tibbs over minutes? We're also going to talk about whether fans now think that with Precious and Sims are IHart and Mitch both expendable. We're also going to talk about, is it embarrassing when the Knicks play their home games in Brooklyn that there are some actual net fans cheering there? Should we be embarrassed by that? And finally, we're going to look at some players that the Knicks might get. Malcolm Brogdon, is he already a Knick? Murray capella trade. And lastly, is there a chance that a guy that secretly records his teammates might become a Knick?
Not a
bunch
joke.
of topics for today's show.
Sounds like a joke, but that's an actual thing.
That's an actual thing. You want to start with the Candace Parker story?
Yeah, sure. I mean, during halftime of the Nets game, she said that Brunson was good in the first round of the playoffs, second round not so much, where he averaged...
the clip?
I don't have the clip.
I sent you the clip.
I know you did.
Remember I said right before the show, do you have the clip? And you go, yeah, got the clip.
Yeah, I do remember that. I lied.
Oh, cool. Great way to start the show.
I just start the show with lies.
Just lies. Jay's like, also, I've developed the power to shoot fire out my butt.
You know what? We don't even have a podcast. I've just been talking to you this whole time, pretending we have a show.
That's fine. Do you want me to send you it, or does it really even matter?
I have it. Here we go. So it's 6 seconds. I mean,
it's 6
That's
seconds.
a number one option last year in the playoffs. Great first round. Second round, not so much. So
I'm glad we played that because I didn't just say that. But
you didn't say. It's better coming from her.
Okay.
Because now we know that someone actually said that, who is a commentator on TNT. TNT is paying her to give comments that are completely just show no knowledge of basketball.
If you have a very short memory, Brunson averaged 31, 6, and 6 in that series, and the Spo, the coach of the Heat, said he kicked our ass the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, Brunson was maybe the best player in that series. He was unbelievable. He was good in Cleveland series. He was unbelievable in the Miami series.
I mean, he was basically the only one that was playing really good in that series.
I mean, literally the entire rest of the Knicks team just checked out for that series, except for Grimes for half a set, for a little while playing on one leg guarding Jimmy Butler. The rest of the series was
and RJ had 2 good games.
Yeah, it really was almost no one doing anything else besides Jalen Brunson being like, fine, I'll score all the points tonight.
Yeah.
But he was awesome, and Candace Parker, and she followed it up with the weirdest explanation. Do you have her quote?
It was just rambling, saying that she was a Bears fan, which I guess is the new excuse when you mess up, to just say I'm a Bears fan. Very strange.
Is that like a meme? Like, I'm saying I'm a Bears fan?
I think it's going to be a meme. I mean, it was a very weird explanation.
This was the explanation. She goes, "Listen, y'all, I'm a Bears fan. I get it. Knicks. I get it, Knicks. Everything someone says, you take it personally. My comments yesterday have nothing to do with what I think about Brunson as a player. I think he's an effing monster. I love Villanova guards, and Jay Wright having a hell of a season, all-star.
Jay Wright?
And all Knicks fans wanted you to say was, oh, my bad. I didn't watch the Miami series. He was awesome in the playoffs.
I was too lazy to take 3 seconds to Google the box scores.
Right. it's just like it's weird because you're like, even if you don't watch the series, it's fine. You don't have to watch everything. If you look at the box score, if you're going to comment on him in the playoffs, at least look up the stats ahead of time.
Or if you didn't, correct yourself later. Don't say I'm a Bears fan. It's so weird. Anyway,
I guess she just assumes like if you lost the series, it means you played terribly. Just everyone.
that's a great analysis. She should definitely get paid for that.
No, yes, she is doing a heck of a job in her role. Yeah. So, anyway, it'd be like I hope that's her approach to everything in life. Like, hey, yesterday when I went on and told everyone the Earth is flat. Anyway, I'm a Bears fan, so I get it. Anyway, playoff stuff, world awesome. Talk to you guys later.
I also like Jay Wright.
Like Jay Wright.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the coach of Villanova.
I don't know. I don't watch college. I don't know.
But you wouldn't know that.
No.
Jay, like how lack of a knowledge. I mean, he's one of the most famous coaches in college basketball. Plus, he coached the core of our team.
If I don't watch, how am I going to know?
Wow. You wouldn't even just heard his name mentioned.
No.
They talk about him all the goddamn time in Knicks games because he coached 3 of the players.
4.
4. 4. Oh, yeah. Sorry. One.
Ryan counts.
Right. I cannot believe, like, my buddies from college got jobs in the NBA, so I get to watch the games from the bench.
The weird thing is he was the best one on that Villanova team.
It's really weird. Yeah, he was. I didn't even realize how good he was. In fact, I guess it doesn't always translate.
Yeah.
He's got a good job with the Knicks, though. I mean, he's getting paid and I guess, play against these guys in practice. But,
Yeah.
Anyway, Candace Parker's an idiot, but and hopefully she'll figure out how to apologize without saying I'm a Bears fan. But so Jalen Brunson, he is an all-star this year, right?
Yeah. It would be
Forget the
absolutely
voting. Like,
insane if he didn't.
Who's getting it over him?
I mean, it is part popularity contest, so you could say.
And I guess I guess where is he in the voting? I think he's was 6th or something.
Yeah, he was 6th, but
okay. Just deserving, and even if he doesn't get voted in, he's got to get put in.
Mm-hmm.
How many guards would you take over him? You could argue Tyrese Halliburton, I guess. Dame's not even having a great season. I mean, Dame's doing fine, just not having a great. Brunson's having a better season than Dame. Who else are you taking over?
Yeah, Dame's averaging slightly more assists and steals. He's averaging less points, and he's shooting worse from the field and from 3, and better from free throw line.
Right, and if you think Brunson's not the best defender, you have not seen Dame play defense. The Bucks fired their coach yesterday because of Dame, basically. More or less the combination of Giannis screwing things up, going, make a big trade. They're like, okay, we got Dame. Okay, get rid of our coach. They got rid of their coach, and now they have to fire the coach because the Dame trade's not. The team's like 30-13. They're already realizing this is not going great.
Yeah, it's just I've never seen a team be 30-13 and be like, yeah, let's fire the coach.
It is a little weird. Just seems a little weird.
Well, it gets weirder when you realize that they had Doc Rivers as like an advisor without the coach asking. Adrian Griffin's like, why is Doc like here? And then all of a sudden Doc becomes the coach, and they're gonna say there was no like, you're not allowed to like do that. So
I don't know what you're allowed to do, but like they clearly, obviously they fired him after Doc already agreed to be the coach.
Yeah, you're not. I don't think you're allowed to interview coaches while you have one. I think that's a rule, but they got Woj to cover for them and say that Doc, who they've been looking at for the last 24 hours, he didn't say the last 3 months. So Woj is doing damage control.
Listen, I don't know what the rules are, but the only team that can ever be punished for any kind of tampering, even though tampering goes on everywhere, is the Knicks. So
the fact that
the Knicks did this, we'd lose a draft pick. No one else will ever lose a draft pick.
The Heatles didn't when they cleared out 14 roster spots just in case. But get the Knicks.
Whatever. More importantly, Jalen Brunson is having a phenomenal season. He's been even better over the last month since the OG trade.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable. And he has to make the All-Star team. It has to be a given. Who else? Okay, let's say you put Halliburton on there. I guess Dame. Who else? What other guards?
Donovan Mitchell.
I guess. I also think it's crazy that people are like Donovan Mitchell is better than Jalen Brunson when 2 years in a row in the playoffs Brunson outplayed Donovan Mitchell. When it counted, Brunson just looked better.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about also when he was on Dallas against Utah. Like, it just seems absurd to me. Like, Donovan Mitchell's great. If he comes to the Knicks, he'll be the second best player in the Knicks. And
You know,
that's
I'd
no
actually, I would take Donovan over Dame for the All-Star spots.
I would too. I also think if your trade gets the coach fired, maybe you don't make the All-Star team. I don't know. If somehow it's a disaster because of your trade. Yeah. And also sometimes, I mean, they're 30-13, but I guess they saw the writing on the wall. Playoffs may not work, and the advisor, who was just basically the entire time screwing over Griffin, they just make him the coach.
So weird.
Like you have to Adrian Griffin must have been like, he's the advisor. Okay, so at what point in the year does he become coach? Like this is absurd.
Yeah.
But he was so set up for failure. Anyway, Candace Parker, she sucks. And you give Brunson any votes for MVP?
Yeah, at some point you got to start talking about it. He's playing above like all-star level at this point. He's like entering people who like everyone calls a superstar, the 1A player. Like Brunson's stats are right up there with them.
Yeah, his stats are right at like what Tatum's doing.
Compared to Dame, compared to Booker, compare him to Donovan, like his stats are right there with all of them. And in fact, he's shooting more efficiently than I think all of them.
If he wasn't NBA short, people would be. I mean, obviously, Jokic's having an amazing year as always, and Embiid's doing ridiculous and so forth. But if he wasn't NBA short, people would just declare him a superstar.
Right.
That and he didn't have because he was a second round pick and no one saw this coming. People are like, I don't know. We have to reserve the superstar for guys that are already that we call them superstars when they're in college.
I mean, Jokic was second round too, but
second round, he was second round.
Yeah, and it's definitely like a height thing. You can't recognize that he's great because he's not tall.
Yeah, well, what it really comes down to is he will not be recognized till he was great last year in the playoffs. The Knicks got to go further in the playoffs. They get to at least the conference finals, people will start recognizing Jalen Brunson as a superstar.
If they get to the conference finals this year, they will have gotten farther than Embiid has ever gotten, and then you definitely have to put that into the conversation.
I do love how, I mean, I know in Philly's had a lot of, they go to the playoffs every year, and they make the second round every year. But since they lose in the second round every year, have they done anything more than the Knicks have?
I mean, not really. They've made it more often, but they haven't gotten farther.
You've lost the second round more often than we have. Good for you guys. Okay. Next up, OG. By the way, since last show, the Knicks won a bunch of games because that's what they do. They win games now. They're just unstoppable.
10-2 since the trade.
Yeah. Despite he followed Tommy D on Twitter. His take is that the Knicks wins don't count because they're not against good enough teams. I guess you have to play teams that are not on your schedule. And he still puts the win for the trade to everyone should follow Tommy D for the comedy of how insane his tweets are, and if you say anything, he'll block you. But his tweets are really funny.
Yeah, watch, anyway, don't touch.
My three favorite things on Twitter right now are that Tommy D's weird tweets, the Candace Parker thing where people are ripping on her, and Magic Johnson started tweeting yesterday for I don't know what reason, but he gave his thoughts on the OG trade a month afterwards, which is a little odd. The replies to that tweet, I was literally laughing out loud. Some of the funniest goddamn replies.
You know, all his tweets are like that, and all the comments are like that. It's like the best account to follow.
All the comments are like every tweet he does, people react this.
Yeah, because every tweet he does will just be stating the obvious. He'll be like, the Lakers won tonight. They scored 10 more points than the Raptors. And everyone will be like, oh, great insight, Magic. Oh, that's so amazing.
People are just asking the comment on things. They're like, because they're like, this is kind of weird. You're commenting something that happened a month ago. So people are commenting like, hey, could you give your thoughts on Jordan retiring? Hey, can you give your thoughts on the U.S. beating Germany in the World War II? Can you give your just things that it was really really fun. And then people just being like, Is this what HIV does to you?
Yeah, that,
Probably not the most colorful one.
yeah,
but,
not great, but I did like
but
the
there was-
sarcastic ones.
there were some funny ones on there. I don't know why I repeated that one. But anyway, since last show, the Knicks beat the Wizards, they beat the Raptors, they beat the Nets, they beat everyone. Crushed what? So we had the RJ Emmanuel quickly return to the Garden. What did you think?
It was nice. They did a tribute, which was cool of them to do. RJ and IQ got a good first quarter. We had some IQ skipping. RJ hit a bunch of shots. So that was good that they got that out of their system before the Knicks stomped them.
It really could not have been more perfect. Like they did the tribute video, as you said. The
Yeah.
fans cheered. The players like saw each other like with warm greetings.
Mm-hmm.
First half, as you said, like they played really well, and like you for a little while you were like, maybe they shouldn't have done this trade. And the second half was just blowout, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice. And then you had
yeah.
RJ and Emmanuel quickly sitting on the bench, like kind of like, oh god. While the Knicks crushed them, and at the end of the game, Randall like said some really nice things about the guys, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a good homecoming. The crowd was really good. They cheered them, which they should. They didn't ask to leave. They weren't a problem while they were here. So I think everything went as good as you can expect. It was a nice reunion.
And then the Knicks.
No, you know what? RJ and IQ did get booed, but it was by Josh Hart.
Yes, he made a joke on.
They showed him actually booing during the opening announcements. He's so funny.
He's funny. He's funny as hell. And then the Knicks beat the crap out of the Nets, which was awesome last night. Do you think OG could guard the entire Nets team by himself?
I mean, he is just in another world. In an era where it's almost impossible to guard people, he's still like shutting everybody down. It's crazy.
I don't think I knew he was a good defender. He's not like a flashy defender, but he's just always in the right position. He's just awesome. Like he's got to be like Brunson will not win MVP. He will not be in the top 3 or top 5 or whatever for the MVP award. He'll be an all-star. OG should be top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year. If not, like he's making a strong case for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, if the Knicks keep winning like this, you have to consider him. I mean, the turnaround. The Knicks were barely above 500 after 32 games.
Yeah,
And
he's also
now they're 10-2.
In 11 games, he's a plus like 210, in plus minus. He hasn't had a negative. He hasn't played one game where his plus minus was a negative.
Right, even in 2 losses. Which is insane.
And the Knicks are playing him like an absurd amount of minutes, and he's like, it's just impossible. Every minute I play is positive for the Knicks.
The Nets game was just downright embarrassing for people in Brooklyn. There was MVP chants for Brunson and Randall. There was boos for Bridges when he was taking free throws. There was cheers when they missed shots. There was "Let's go Knicks" chants like loud, not like I think I could hear it. It was like a playoff loudness. It was absolutely embarrassing.
Mikal Bridges commented after the game how it's kind of disappointing to play in your home arena and have the other team cheered for more.
It's crazy. Shimmy just said, I went to Miami versus Nets for free tickets and free food, and there was more Heat fans. It was embarrassing. So it's not just the Knicks. Yeah.
That's really embarrassing. I mean, that's one thing to like the Knicks are at least like in a different borough, but like
I mean, I've gone to a few games there just because the tickets are so cheap, and every time I go, the away crowd has more fans.
I mean,
I went to a Nets Rockets, and there was more Rockets fans there.
do you think the Nets should move to Seattle?
They should move somewhere. I mean, they're not welcome here.
I thought they. Well, let me go to one of our questions. Not to go on any the time with the other questions, but one of the questions asked us, what I thought was relevant for this, is not a question. This is from Patrick on Facebook. Not a question, more of a request. Can you spend 1 minute recapping the Nets "We Own This City" era?
Which one? They had the KG Pierce "We Own This City," which lasted about 20 games, and then they had the new Durant, Harden, Kyrie "We Own This City," which I think they played 16 games together, including playoffs.
I mean, the Nets, they were in the early 2000s. They went to the finals. They, with Jason Kidd and company, they had really good teams. Didn't win it all, but really good teams. But even then, I guess my understanding is they couldn't sell out like home games in the finals because no one in New Jersey cared that much about the Nets. So they cared more about than Brooklyn cares about these Nets. At one point, they almost changed the name of the team to the Swamp Dragons, which very few people remember, but it's a complete embarrassment on the franchise. Moved to Brooklyn. Also, weren't they supposed to be in Brooklyn called like the Knights or something? The Black Knights?
That was their mascot was the Brooklyn Knight, which was an actual knight, and it was so lame. I think they got rid of it within like the first quarter of that season.
Yeah, that's really lame. And I guess like the going all in for Garnett, Pierce when they were almost ready to retire was pretty dumb. Mm-hmm. They conquered New York by giving Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and then getting James Harden and being the greatest offense ever assembled. And unbelievably how fast that fell apart.
Yeah.
People can say there's a lot of bad luck, like the pandemic. I think the bad luck is that you're the Nets, and that's it.
But thank you for the unintentional comedy. Appreciate that.
Just being the Nets.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was recently the cutting down the Nets, 2 minutes cutting down the Nets.
Yeah. Well, we did that when they got KG, right?
Yeah, we were making fun of them back then because we knew that was going to be a disaster right from the start.
Yeah.
The Durant one, and like you're like, they got Kevin Durant. They're pretty good, but it did not work out because it's hilarious. But you know what? At least on a positive note, Mikal Bridges will ask out. Might become a Nick in the future. But the guy that will never ask out and never leave is Ben Simmons. I saw Ben Simmons in street clothes on the bench last night, and my first thought was, oh yeah, I forgot he's still in the NBA.
He's taking free throws by himself now, though, so he's getting close to a comeback.
Yes, supposedly he's going to play some minutes with their G League squad to see if his back can be in game shape. Mm-hmm. The fall off of that career, unbelievable fall off of a career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so OG Defensive Player of the Year has to be, right? Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that later in the year.
It's weird. We went from like Mitch might get Defensive Player of the Year to now OG might get it.
Yeah, and then when he comes back, we'll have some of the best defensive players in the NBA.
If he comes back for the playoffs, oh my God.
So IHart is day-to-day with a injury to his Achilles that's from overuse.
Yeah.
So the risk really is that it's tender, I guess, and you don't. Obviously, the risk is the tearing. Mm-hmm. So you have to give him some time off. They gave him off the Nets game. What do you? And so I have a theory.
Yep.
There's been no reports about this. Just my theory, and I think I'm correct. Mm-hmm. I noticed something weird in the Knicks game yesterday. I noticed because the Knicks and Nets game was pretty close, pretty embarrassing close, to be honest. But it was pretty close. And towards the end of the game, it was getting late in the fourth quarter. OG is standing by the bench, just like, when am I going in? When am I going in? And Tibbs is just like not putting him in until like 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And he took him out early in the second in the first half also. My theory is after they found out IHart was hurt, they were like, you cannot play OG 40 minutes a game anymore. It doesn't matter win or lose. He's got to like no more than 35 minutes, Coach Tibbs, or you're in trouble. Sometimes we're going to lose our mind. They had like some intervention with him last night or the night before.
I would not be surprised because OG has had an injury-riddled history, and to play him that many minutes is just crazy anyway. Like
Tibbs has been playing him like 43 minutes a night. Tibbs has been like, I can't take him off the court, and I get it because the guy's awesome.
Yeah.
But like last night, it was like almost weird how like he only had 33 minutes, which is totally fine. But it was almost weird how he was just like not putting him back in the game. He was just like, I can't, don't do it. Don't. It was almost like an addict being like, I gotta go clean turkey. I'm gonna go cold turkey. I'm gonna do this.
I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, you can't overplay him. He's like the second most important player on the team right now.
Also, the Knicks play Denver tomorrow night. And some people would say, well, we rested IHart against Brooklyn. You got to play against Denver because Denver's really tough. Rest IHart against Denver. Give him 2 weeks off. I'd rather lose to Denver. Denver's a tough game either way. I'd rather lose than fucking lose IHart.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. Don't play him.
If he's not 100%, don't play him. Yeah.
He's not going to be 100%. It's a overusage. Like like you're going to put him in. He's definitely not 100%.
Yep. I think it's a good idea to sit him. Not that Sims and Precious have been amazing, but they were both better than I thought they would be.
You don't think we can trade IHart and Mitch now?
Yeah, I mean, last night I know it was the Nets, but they look decent.
They have Claxton. He's a solid. He's a little thin, but he's a solid center.
Yeah, he is.
They're gonna look better with. I had a slightly more faith in Precious than I just had no faith in Sims. I thought Sims looked pretty decent also.
He did. So maybe we could weather this storm, get everybody healthy. Maybe Mitch will come back. Renee said OG solidified our defense, and she can't wait for Mitch to get back. Agreed.
But by the end of the season, the Knicks will have gone through 9 centers. They will have found some tall guy in the crowd who'll be giving them great minutes.
I mean, they keep finding these really good guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked that they were comfortable enough to cut. I mean, rightfully so, I guess. Cut Taj. I really thought Taj was going to be our center.
I knew when he checked himself out after like 4 minutes that it was over.
I kind of assumed they when they said IHart was hurt, I was like, Taj just looked by his phone like, okay, call me. Okay, I know you're gonna call me. Just call me. It's fine. Just call me.
I mean, I was thinking like, just why not call Dwight? Patrick,
Yeah,
you did miss cutting down the Nets. Sorry.
Was Dwight on the Nets?
No. Patrick asked if he missed cutting down the Nets. So I said,
sorry,
sorry, you did.
Early. Okay. Joe writes on Twitter, New York Center IHart now a fan favorite. Question: how, when will the New York Knicks sign him to a long-term contract? The free agent money is better. How can Leon Rose convince him to stay in MSG? The Knicks will need both IHart and Mitch to get past Embiid.
Well, they're definitely going to sign him as soon as they can this summer. How they are able to go over the cap for guys that are already on the team because of the bird rules. Actually, the Knicks can sign him for more, I believe, than other teams.
There's also that apron thing where like it gets like after the second apron, which is like 190 million, something crazy. But you get up. The real Knicks issue will be when they have to when Brunson becomes a free agent, when Randall becomes a free agent, when they have to re-sign these guys to huge contracts, then the cap will become an issue.
Here's a fun fact: there are 6 teams in the NBA with nobody on the books for more than 30 million, and the Knicks have the most wins out of those 6 teams.
Who are the other? I mean, I'm sure the other 5 aren't that good of teams.
No, the only other like decent team is Orlando.
I mean, I would assume also that the dollar for dollar, like, beyond guys that are on rookie contracts, Brunson has the best contract in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, even Randall's is
pretty good
low.
also.
I mean, for what he does, I mean, that's people are getting like 40 million to do that now. I mean, the contracts are crazy, but
all-star level play. I mean, look at the contract. Zach LaVine gets 40 million. Like,
yeah,
Dame, you're paying $50 million to get your coach fired. I also don't think. I think centers are still undervalued. I don't think his contract will be wildly different than what Mitch got.
Yeah. Now, do you feel better about paying 2 centers the same amount?
I do when they're this good. Yeah.
Yeah, because beginning of the season, you were like, no, you can't spend that much on 2 centers.
Yeah, no, I said that, but I also didn't know. I didn't know IHart would be this good.
Yeah, you got it.
And Mitch gets. It makes a huge difference. The team looks great. Yeah. Nigel writes, why at 6'10" does Jericho Sims seem incapable of grabbing rebounds? Either get boxed out or forever missing timing his jump to gather it. If he could work on improving his timing or positioning just slightly, then that would be big help. Not really a question, but a discussion point.
Yeah, I know we've seen him. He's able to like touch the top of the backboard. So it's definitely more of a timing thing. He just he needs to, you know how like Rodman wasn't that tall, but he got 20 rebounds a game because he could just like see where the shot was going and know where to be. Like he needs to get better at that.
And not that Rodman was short. I think he was like 6'7", but he knew where the ball.
But
was
he was not like this guy's going to get 20 rebounds tall.
No, he was one of the greatest rebounders in NBA history.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the thing with Sims, maybe part of it is just that he needs more game time. I think the more he plays in actual, like you can do this in practice, you can do it like in the G League. I think maybe just more minutes in the NBA will help him with this.
Well, he might be getting them now.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get. I honestly would see like, I think that IHart's injury, like, without no real knowledge, but I'm guessing rest is one of the big ways to get this better.
Yeah, I think that's the only way, really.
I think you might want to just rest him through the All-Star game. That might be the smart thing to do. Like, he tears his Achilles, we're really screwed.
I don't know the severity. I don't know. Like, for all I know, it could be 4 days rest and he's back to normal, or it could be, a month. I have no idea.
By the way, as an old man now, I've heard stories of people tearing their Achilles and like just like randomly happening, and now this is all I think about when I'm working out. Mm-hmm. Taking that wrong step.
Yeah.
But
only for us, it'll be like a 5-year recovery, not like a few months.
Right. Also, like it's cool if you're like at least like you're Aaron Rodgers, you're a basketball player. You're like well, I tore it like in the game action. For us, it'll be like, how'd you tear your Achilles? I had to bend down to get the toilet paper was done, so I had to get a new toilet paper roll. And anyway, I tore my Achilles that way.
I was washing dishes and I went to pick up a fork. And yeah, now I don't have any. I have one Achilles left.
Anyway, you gotta I think you really got to stretch before having a catch. That's how I tore my Achilles. And Mac writes, have you ever felt about how have you felt about the OG trade this far?
Is it the best trade since we started doing this show? Yeah, it's got to be, right?
Well, I mean, the Knicks have had some the Derrick Rose trade propelled them to an awesome rest of their season. Josh Hart trade looked really good. The OG trade looks even better because OG just looks like the best of those three players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, what other trade? Well, no, it's not the best. Well, no. Well, since Brunson was a free agent, not a trade.
Right.
Trade.
Yeah, we started doing the show in 2010, so you got like the Tyson Chandler trade.
That was a good trade.
Not many good ones.
He was a sign-in trade, so it wasn't like a real trade. I don't count sign-in trades as the same as a regular trade.
So I'm going to say yes. Best trades at least to the last, I don't know,
and
20 years.
It still seems like it could have worked out well for both teams because he was going to leave Toronto anyway, so they got like two very solid players for him. RJ's his numbers have gone up. They're not winning games, but like they've got something to build around. I hope it works out really well in Toronto. It's an unbelievable fit in New York.
I am not surprised that the starting lineup looks that much better, but I am surprised at how much worse the bench looks.
Yes, removing IQ. Let's get to that in 1 second because we have to talk about some potential trade targets. So Josh writes, thankfully you're not like some daily Knicks content creators that one week ago wanted to trade that bum Julius Randle again.
Look, he's not like a top 10 player in the league. He's not perfect, but he's really good. He's on a reasonable contract. And the hate he gets is absolutely ridiculous.
24 players make the All-Star team. Decent chance he makes it again. He's probably a top 25 guy. If he's 25th in the NBA, that's freaking good.
Yeah.
He's like,
look, everyone's like, yeah, his turnovers are too high. They are. His turnovers are too high. But take a look at the top guys in the league and look at their turnovers. When you have the ball a lot, you turn over the ball a lot, usually.
Sometimes also, I mean, he does some boneheaded things with the ball and so forth, whatever.
He does.
But he also had some turnover. There was a turnover in the Nets game last night where he passed the ball to DiVincenzo, who also has been amazing this year, but DiVincenzo to take a three. DiVincenzo just like gave the ball back to him, like just threw it back to him, and Randall was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And it was a turnover. But it really was Deangelo just should have taken the shot. And I find a lot of times guys they're unsure about whether they want to shoot and they give the ball back to Randall, or they can't create their own shot. They give it to Randall with like 5 seconds to go on the shot clock, which kind of screws him a little bit.
And again, he does turn the ball over more than he should.
He does some dumb over dribbling and so forth.
He passes. I think he's a good passer and he passes a lot, but sometimes he passes just way too fast, and maybe he doesn't realize. I don't know if he doesn't realize how strong he is or whatever. But like sometimes guys can't even catch the ball. He's thrown it so far, but
it's also he's not the best player in the NBA. He has flaws. Most of the guys, if I say he's the if I say he's the 25th best player in the NBA, or anywhere from 20 and 30, all those guys have flaws. If they didn't have flaws, they'd be higher ranked.
Right.
So it's not crazy. It's also like we've now established that Randall's awesome, but Brunson's better. Probably need a third guy though.
Yeah, the hate for him online is just weird. It's people are rooting for bums like Frank and hating Randall. It's very strange. I don't get it.
And whether and you've made this point like that you think he's better than Melo, and forgetting whether he's better than Melo, it's a solid argument that his numbers and everything he's done in the Knicks is as good as Melo's been. Why do you? I guess fans were hating on Melo also back in the day. So
not nearly as much, and
not nearly as much though. Yeah, like
and in retrospect, people see him as like the best Knick of the last like. Or the best Knick ever. Some people think it's like
if you point out that Melo didn't play that much defense and like him, like he should have played the 4, not the 3. You point out some like weaknesses in his game, people will crush you online. Mm-hmm. At the same time, like you'll 10 years from now, if you want to bash Randall, fans will have no issue with it.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I don't know why he doesn't get the respect for like how much he's done for the Knicks already.
You know what? Maybe a long, good, deep playoff run will change all of that.
That would probably help. Daniel writes, Tibbs praised Precious in the post-game press, saying that he has a great potential, something like that. What do you think of his game? He's only 24, too soon. So maybe there's upside. Would love to see his three-point shot improve.
Which player are we talking about?
Precious. Achua.
Yeah, I think he's better than I thought he would be, but I think he's a solid guy to just have as a backup. I don't think he's going to be like, pressuring anybody for like a starting role or anything. But to have him coming off the bench, like, yeah, great.
Well, he might be. I guess the point is, there's room to improve. He might be like, maybe he's better than you think. Maybe he has a lot of tools. He's a very athletic player. Mm-hmm. There was one funny sequence last night also where I forget who the two. I think it was maybe Randall was staying behind the 3-point line. Doesn't take the 3, passes it. Maybe it was DiVincenzo or Grimes. I forget which one it was. Maybe DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo doesn't take the 3 either. Passes it to Precious. Precious is standing by himself. He's like, I guess I'll shoot. Throws it up and it was a brick. But I was like, why the two guys who are better 3-point shooters pass the Precious to shoot the 3? I didn't understand.
The team is almost too nice.
Guys look off shots a little too often. But
yeah.
I don't know. Precious, there's something there. I mean, you know what? The Knicks have him through the end of the season. He's going to play minutes. Let's hope there's some area let's hope there's some area to improve.
I think he's fine as a backup. Like, I think he does more on the court than Obi did, and all you need him for is to back up Randall for 15 minutes a game when we get some centers back.
I'm assuming this offseason he will not be getting a lot of money, so maybe the Knicks bring him back on a small deal.
Yeah,
like solid backup.
I think he would be a great backup. Yeah.
And Daniel wrote also to add, I think Tibbs has done a fine job developing the kids. IHart is also young, and he's improved tremendously since coming here. Perhaps Achua can learn from Tibbs, but I don't know how long that would take. Daniel has done something crazy just now.
This is the first time on this podcast.
The first time on this podcast anyone has ever written to us and said that Tibbs is good at developing players.
I would say anything positive about Tibbs at all.
I mean, I don't understand it. How people it's the same thing. We got to trade Randall. Tibbs, despite all the success, they're like everyone admitting it's a young roster, and the roster has really improved. It's all improved despite of Tibbs.
Usually, are the emails we get, nynickspodcast@gmail.com. By the way, is Tibbs is the devil, and he's destroying this team, and he needs to be fired immediately and replace him with Mark Jackson, who hasn't coached in 20 years.
Yeah. Okay, so going to guides the Knicks should get. The report is the Knicks are probably going for a smaller trade than a big trade. But the big trade we at least suggested last week was Clint Capella, and obviously we may not need to get another center, but basically Murray and Clint Capella for. Do you just want to point out what that trade would look like?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get Murray and Capella, I'm using the ESPN trade machine. Your two options are you could trade Fournier and trade Mitch. What do you think about that, Jay?
I kind of don't want to get rid of Mitch.
Yeah, I don't love, but I guess if you're getting Capella, he signed for multiple years. He signed for one more season. I guess that would work, but I don't love it. The other option, if you want to get him, this trade, let me pull up this trade. This trade is almost insane. You have to trade. Hang on. Hold up. God damn it.
Suspense is killing me.
The suspense is killing me. I think I might have sent this to you already, but yes. If you could trade Fournier, Achua, Flynn, Grimes, DeQuan Jeffries, and Ryan. I also played for Villanova, Arsene and Kono. Though that's how you'd have to match salaries.
Okay, so that's not happening.
Yeah, I don't see either one of those trades really happening. That trade's probably not happening. So it's probably going to be Murray on his own. And it sounds like probably that trade's also not likely to happen.
Right.
What do you think?
It seems like it's clutch, and I just hate how agencies play such a big part in these trades. So
the Knicks have already said that. Or the rumor is that the Knicks have said that the asking price for Murray might be a little high. Maybe that's a way of saying Leon Rose met with clutch, but we're done now.
So the other rumor is that Murray, the Lakers are trying to get him, but they want a third team to take Deangelo Russell.
Yes.
And that would be the Knicks as the third team getting Deangelo Russell.
So Deangelo Russell's an interesting. He's the guy that recorded his teammate as a rookie, saying some stuff. Kind of, you can look up the story. Not worth getting into, but he was very immature behavior. He's had an interesting run. Like he was kind of he was drafted by the Lakers, considered a bit of a disappointment. Went to Brooklyn. Actually had a pretty good time in Brooklyn, and then bounced around. Went to Golden State, Minnesota.
He made one All-Star team, right?
Did he make an All-Star team?
Yeah,
in Brooklyn.
I think so. Yeah,
I think maybe Brooklyn's the one year he made it. But I don't watch enough of the Lakers, but he's having a pretty good season, averaging 16 points a game in about 30 minutes a game. Field goal percentage about 48%, 41% from three. He gets 6 assists a game.
It was Brooklyn, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, it was Brooklyn. And he's 53% from two, 57% effective field goal percentage. He gets the line a little. On paper, he's exactly what the Knicks need. He is a guy that can play 25 minutes a night, be a spark plug on. The Knicks bench is an issue with scoring. Mm-hmm. The bench does not look good. They need an orchestrator. They need a point guard. I like McBride. McBride is not ready to be your backup point guard. Russell really would solve the issues, mm-hmm. and he's signed for I believe he's one more season. I believe he signed for one more season, $18 million. So you could still trade him next year.
Mm-hmm. He replaces Fournier's $18 million.
Yeah, I don't think this is a terrible move. I don't know how much I'd want to give up for him, but if it's part of facilitating the trade, I don't hate it. And even if it was a direct, I just don't think the Lakers don't want Fournier. They don't want draft picks. They want players to get better for right now. Mm-hmm. So that it's not going to be a direct trade. But if it's part of a facilitation, I guess I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't know. It's weird the Lakers want to get rid of him also, though. But I guess if you go from him to DeJounte Murray, Murray's better. I get that part of it.
Yeah. Plus, it's all about who LeBron does and does not like. So it might not have anything to do with his performance on the court.
The Knicks really do need a it's getting clearer and clearer. We need to upgrade from McBride. No offense to we just need something. The bench just like they're. It'd be nice if you had just a guy on the bench who could score 20 points.
So
not every night, but
yeah, I think this not what I was expecting, but I'm definitely warming up to this idea because you have that 18 million in space, and if it costs just Fournier, who's not playing anyway, and maybe a protected first that's going to be a garbage pick anyway. If that's all it costs, I feel like it's a no-brainer, right?
I'm open to it. I'm open to it. I still feel like the Knicks should try to. So supposedly this, by the way, I was listening to Bill Simmons before. They were saying this coming NBA draft is considered one of the worst NBA drafts in a long time. But you never know. You could find talent in the draft anyway. It just means like if you have a top pick, you're not excited about your top pick.
They're talking about from the top end of it. Yeah. So
the Knicks.
There's always guys in the middle that might be.
The Knicks need inexpensive role players. They need a guy that can develop. I just if you talk about longevity of this team or your ability to keep this going, at some point you're going to give Brunson a huge contract. You might give Randall a bigger contract. You're going to want a guy who could step in. Maybe a guy can step into Josh Hart's role later on and trade Josh Hart or something because the guy has, not that I want to trade Josh Hart, but just you need young players who can develop and could maybe be better than some. This is one of your if you're going to try to make a run with this team, you might want to get some young players on the bench also that could help out.
Yeah.
I want to keep these draft picks.
Like you said, next year he's expiring, so you do have the flexibility to make a move again next season should a star become available.
So I don't know enough about him being his locker room issue or anything else, but there really aren't rumors of him being a headache now. Just previously in his career, he was.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything recently. So
no one's even saying like the Lakers need to get rid of him because he's causing problems. They're just like, we need an upgrade basically because we need to win. Like they have to go all in because you have like 1 or 2 more years left of LeBron.
Right.
So and then the other option, Malcolm Brogdon, we've talked about before. How do you feel about Fournier? And so this week also there was a trade. Kyle Lowry was traded for Terry Rozier, who's off the table now. It was Kyle Lowry's expiring contract and a first-round pick protected 2027 that turns into unprotected or less protected in 2028.
Yep.
So that probably sets what the cost would be for Malcolm Brogdon. Really an expiring contract and a protected first from a couple of years from now. Maybe like the Milwaukee pick. Seems reasonable enough.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I think I'd almost rather Russell at this point. Brogdon's injury.
Oh my God! When you were making fun of the Russell idea, now you're almost coming around to it.
I've really started coming around to it. I mean, Rozier's off the table. Brogdon's injury history just scares the hell out of me.
But you need less from him. You're not needing 30 minutes a game from him. You need 20, 25. And you need a guy that also is comfortable. I guess Russell is, to a certain extent, also coming off the bench. But Brogdon was sixth man of the year last year. He seemed very comfortable coming off the bench.
I wouldn't be complaining if the Knicks got Brogdon. I feel like Russell might have a chip on his shoulder if he gets moved from the Lakers. I think he wants to. I think he wants to be starting on the Lakers, and if they trade him, it might be like a revenge season.
I wonder if he wants a bigger role in offense than they're comfortable with, and that might be an issue for other teams. Whereas Brogdon will be comfortable with a low and you're probably with Tibbs. I can't see Brogdon getting below 25 minutes anyway because he'll be productive.
Yeah. I mean, either way, I think they're two good options. I don't know. I kind of like the contract situation and everything too.
Well, Brogdon's also signed for 1 more year, so it's same deal with the contract. Oh, is he signed? Is he not signed for 1 more? I thought he's signed for 1 more year, so just like he can be used next year also.
I believe so, but yeah. I mean, both 1 more year. It's not the big star trade that we were thinking of, but it's definitely a much needed piece that could really help in the playoffs. So yeah, Brogdon is expiring next year, 22 and a half.
I think DeRozan's going to be off the table. I think the Bulls are playing well. I think they might like think about keeping him. I don't know, but like I just don't see that one happening unless you want to get Zach LaVine from the Bulls, which would be insane.
No,
because the Bulls will just like, yeah, sure, we don't. We'll just get this great.
I think the fact that the Bulls and the Jazz are both sneaking into the play-in area right now, they both might be like, yeah, let's hold off on trading everybody.
Right. And the other one people talked about is Alec Burks. Burks is fine. I don't see this making any sense. And I'm worried that he'd come to the Knicks and then like Tibbs would like, oh, Burks is here. Let's play him 40 minutes again.
The problem is Burks is very good at shooting guard, and the Knicks need a guy to orchestrate the offense. And we saw how point guard Burks was, and it was not good. So
right. The issue when Burks was here was that we were trying to play him out of position at point guard. We need a backup point guard. Don't go trade for him.
Yeah.
That's a very, very, very good point. Jay, you know what's the Knicks have coming up? A bunch of games.
Yeah, so Denver tomorrow, right?
They got the schedule gets a little harder now. There's a little bit of test coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Denver tomorrow. What else we got?
Are you telling me or are you asking me?
I'll tell you. Miami. They got Denver in the next week. They got Denver, Miami, Charlotte, Utah, Indiana, and the Lakers.
So we already passed the easy part of the schedule, huh? It was just like 3 games.
I mean, the Knicks had some nice. The schedule gets a little harder here. I mean, Denver, especially with IHart probably out for the game, that's a real tough one. I hope they can beat Miami. That's a tough game though. Charlotte's an easy one. Utah's not as Utah's playing pretty well right now. Not that easy of a game. Indiana, does Indiana have Halliburton back?
Yeah.
I don't think. Is he back?
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, that's a tough game. Lakers are not easy. They have a tough stretch ahead. So,
although might be playing Indiana at the right time. They're 0-3 since the Siakam trade, so they're still kind of just trying to figure each other out. So it might be a good time to play them.
I kind of my new thing now is anytime people like make a comment like about like the power forward or like just Obi not getting as many minutes for the Pacers,
mm-hmm.
I just post a picture of Obi dunking and just go, but he dunks. By the way, who's the best ex Nick in the NBA right now?
Oh, that's a good question. The best ex Nick.
It's actually not. It's actually a pretty easy one.
It's IQ, right?
No, it's KP.
Oh yeah.
I just think it's funny because like I keep seeing people talk praising about how RJ and IQ won the team recently. People throw in like every time like Obi does something well, you keep seeing that. Even Cam Reddish a little bit. No one's ever like, look at the stats that KP is putting up.
Yeah.
I guess there's no Nick fan that still likes him.
He asked out, so that's it. He's public enemy number 1 now.
Yeah. He left it was his choice to leave, so people were like, well, screw him.
Well, I mean, the way he left wasn't great, but he has admitted multiple times that if he could do things differently, he would, and he feels bad about it. So
yeah, he's not a professional. KP is not a 1A All-Star, but he's a very good player. I don't think he would have gotten where he is now without bouncing around a little bit.
Maybe he needed to be humbled a little bit.
Yeah, I think that probably is what needed to happen.
Also, he looks really good as like the 3rd best player in the starting lineup.
Right. They have an unbelievable starting lineup. They have so many good options. Like defense is like we'd like to concentrate on KP, but there's Jason Tatum is on the team. It's just like they have to give him he has more open shots than he would on most teams.
Yeah. Just like
anyway,
if the Knicks got another All-Star teammate, Randall would probably look a lot better too.
Yeah. Tune into the next show when we find out who that All-Star is.
Yeah, so we usually record on Mondays, but we waited till Wednesday because I had a feeling a trade was coming. I did not know it would be the Lowry trade. I thought it'd be a Knicks trade, but there was a trade. So
the Pacers have gotten a little better. The Heat have gotten a little better also.
Yeah. The East is deep, man.
Why couldn't the East be like it was in the mid 2010s when it was like weak as hell?
Yeah, there was like 3 good teams in the whole conference.
I mean, you had LeBron to deal with, but like I want an easier pathway. This is really getting annoying.
Yeah, you had like a I heard the Pacers got in with like 37 wins. It was just like, yeah, it was a garbage conference for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, at one point the Pacers were like, we got Roy Hibbert.
That'll get us to the conference finals.
We could get past Roy Hibbert.
Yeah.
Whatever. The Knicks, looking pretty awesome. I'm very curious to see how they. Yeah, I feel like the also whatever. It'll be interesting how they stack up against Denver. And this harder part of the schedule.
Yeah, it'll be a good gauge. I mean, the Knicks have been winning, but a lot of these wins have been ugly, very ugly, with long streaks of not being able to score. So this will be a good litmus test to see how they're doing.
It seems like before the trade deadline, something will happen. There'll be an upgrade to McBride. The bench will look a little better.
Yeah. Something will happen in the next couple weeks.
I would be really shocked if nothing happens. Yeah.
I mean, they better before Fournier just snaps. He's just gonna take out the whole organization. Like that. Free Fournier.
You didn't know about the clause that you can never leave? We have you for the next 20 years. We actually have the 20-year option. You're never allowed to. When you're dead, we're going to force your body to watch Knicks home games.
I was wondering why you asked me to sign my contract in blood. Anyway, NY Knicks Podcast on Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, and at NY Knicks Podcast on YouTube. And
Sorry, Evan. We talked to Team France, and you can't even play for them anymore because we're worried you might get injured and not be available to sit on the bench for us.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody, and we will be back next week. Go Knicks.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.